Hello, and welcome back to Knit Until I Die. um, that's Mom. Um, so, hopefully, you all can hear me and see me. I decided to go live because I've been struggling on trying to get a um, video put together. I want to be more consistent. Mainly because I'd like to get a few more subscribers so that I can go live from my phone, which would make it a lot easier. So I'm working on my mother's night bloom sweater, and it's a colorwork sweater. It I'm working the sleeves two at a time in the round, and this is the first time that I've ever done two at a time in the round. I have my chat up and open. You're more than welcome to say hello. Um, it's been an interesting week, and boy, am I glad it's Friday. I hope that you all have had a really good week and that you are going to have a really good weekend. I know we're getting really close to the American Thanksgiving, and then different types of holidays like Hanukkah and Christmas are and others are coming up. And I don't know, sometimes this time of year can be really fun, but it also can be a little disheartening or lonely. I'm really happy that I have Mom and the dogs and my Aunt Susan and my friends, especially Miss Susie. We have a lot of Susans in our world, several that are cousins, and one's an aunt, and then we have several other people we know that are named Susan. Um, I don't know how it came out like that, but it did. Um, so when you join or when you watch, if you don't mind, hit the like and the subscribe. What are you working on? Um, I say a lot, and I am working on that. I'd like to get this sweater finished by Thanksgiving, so um, then I have more time for other stuff that I have decided that I want to do. The closer we get to Christmas, the more like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I tried to kind of make sure I didn't have to do that by buying some gifts, which I have done. But of course, the closer we get, the colder weather we get, I have all these ideas just flying through my head. And I'm working really hard to only work on a couple of projects because I don't want to have a gazillion things started and not finish anything, which is what happens when I get overloaded with my whips. I don't know how you guys are, but I like to be fairly monogamous to a point on my whips so that I can get through them. Sometimes they're kind of a slog, like um, my Never sweater. I really like it, and I'm very glad that I was able to um, finish it. However, um, it took a long, long time for me to be able to finish it, and that is not um, what um, I don't know. I just have to have like one or two projects. If I have too many, then I just don't get stuff done. And I have found that for me to be productive and to feel productive, I really have to have just like one or two, maybe three projects going right now. Um, what else? That's where the problem is. So in working two at a time, I'm working from two different, not really two different skeins, but a skein and then a center pull ball. Um, I tried working it from the inside and the outside of the cake, and that just was not cutting the mustard for me. It really wasn't working well for me. I kept getting everything tangled up, and it was, for me, just a bit too much to try and manage my yarn that way. So I did do a center pull ball, mainly because I was at work, and I didn't want to wait to get home to work on it. And so I did a center pull ball and put it on one sleeve, and then, oh, sorry, the actual cake is on the other sleeve, actually on the sleeve that I'm working on right now. And that has allowed me to keep from having too many tangles or getting my yarns too crossed up. Because you really have to manage. It's not necessarily hard, but you really have to think about your yarn management. And I have done this. I've done yarn management before, like in crochet. I haven't done a whole lot of it in knitting. This is kind of like my first, I guess, big project of doing it, because, I did the color work on this sweater, um, and that required yarn management. And now I'm doing two at a time sleeves, which of course requires time management. So it's time and yarn management, but it's not that difficult. I just have to make sure that my yarns are in the right place for where they need to be. Um, I think if I was trying to do like a pattern, um, I don't know, like a rib, this might not work so well. It may work out perfectly, but I don't know. I think that might be a bit tough in the beginning until I kind of get the rhythm down. That's one thing that I've noticed is that it's hard to get in a rhythm with two at a time sweaters. And the biggest reason is that um, you get through one side of the sleeve and then you have to stop and either go on to the next sleeve, or you have to go on to the next half of the sleeve, because you're doing, or I'm doing magic loop. And so it seems like every row takes a long time and it's hard to get into my groove with it. But like I said, I really want to get this finished before Thanksgiving. I'm kind of excited because my family, we were kind of going to have a big Thanksgiving, and that has become something that we're not going to do, which I'm very pleased with. I would rather not have to do what I'm do I don't know. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I'd rather not have to deal with a lot of people because I am very much in my house hobbit phase, meaning I really like being um, at home and not having a whole lot of um, people around. My dog's anxiety is better, but it's still there, and it's always going to be there for him, and for me, because Did I just do what I think I did? I did. Doggone it. Okay, I'm going to tink backwards. Yep, I did. I was not paying close enough attention. Let me turn that way. So backwards I go. I am knitting, again, like I said, my mom's Night Bloom sweater. And I made a mistake because I was talking instead of thinking about what I'm doing. But it's not a big mistake. It's easy to fix. I just did half a row with the wrong yarn, and I can go back and easily fix that. When I first started knitting, I didn't like the idea of tinking back. It seemed like it took so long. Whereas now it's not that, I'm not going to say that I'm as comfortable with it as I am with frogging with crochet. However, sometimes you just got to fake it until you make it. And that is, I guess, kind of the stage that I'm in. I know just enough to get by. And I am working on building my skills. So that's going to be an adventure for the end of this year and next year. I will be, I think, doing a self-drafted coat. I was thinking December, but I think it's probably going to be January before I can get to it. Mainly because I have all kinds of things that I want to do. And I try really hard not to be one of those people that's like, ooh, squirrel, and onto something new. Because when I do stuff like that, I never finish anything. And it really does bother me that when I don't get stuff done, or when seems like it takes forever to get something done. Which is one reason that I like crochet, is it just works up so much faster. Doesn't mean that it's necessarily easier per se, but it does work up much, much faster. Mom's out here in the living room with me, and she's watching, what's it called? She's watching Matlock, the new one, and she has really been enjoying it. What else? Well, if you watched my last video, you'll know that Watson's no longer with us. My old man crossed the Rainbow Bridge. And he's back home with us now. We got him cremated, and I have an urn and everything, so he's all ready to go. I'm hoping that he can go in when I go in. I'm thinking that I'm going to go into the plot between my great grandma and great grandpa, and then my grandma and my papa, because that's one of the open ones. Or I could be way down on the end, where on the other side of my great grandparents. My grandma and papa were really planners and thinkers, and they would decide, to nope, that was the right one. No, it's not. What did I do? So they went ahead and they bought burial plots basically for the entire family if we really want it. And they're in the grave right next to their son Brian, who passed when he was really young. And that's really where Grandma wanted to be, with Papa and with Brian. Um, and I don't know. I I think here soon we may be going up to Douglas to look at the graves, and if we do, I'm going to try and take some video. We got a bench for Grandma and Papa for their grave, and it goes over the two graves. There's and then the one right next door where I might be going, which frankly I don't really need a marker. I just want to be with Mom and the dogs and Grandma and Papa, and because those plots are actually large enough. You could put a ton of people in there. I don't know if they'd actually let you, but you could. Um, but yeah, we got quite a bit up there, and the other great grandparents and some of the other family members are on the other side of the road, and then down the road a ways. Um, but it's nice, like when you go visit the graves, everybody's pretty much um, in the same spot, so it's not like we have to go to different graveyards. It is a bit of a drive up there, um, but it's usually not too bad as long as there's not bad weather coming in. But we've lived here long enough; we know to watch the weather. So it's Friday night, and I am working on this sweater. Um, and this, I guess, is kind of my motivation to keep going. Um, I think one of my plans going forward will be to do more lives on the computer so that I can get to the point where I can do lives on my cell phone. Um, but if you're watching, please hit that like and subscribe. There's more content coming. Let me think. I don't know which YouTubers you might be familiar with. Some of the ones that I have really enjoyed listening to while I'm crafting are Crochet Vision. Sarah, she's kind of funny. She's kind of sarcastic, but she does a lot of plushies, and she does fairly frequent lives, which I like to go and re-listen to. I usually don't stay up to listen to them because they're usually kind of late at night, but I do catch her on the replay. The other person that I like watching their lives is Passionate Kelsey, PASIOKNIT, and then Kelsey. She's on YouTube, and I really enjoy her lives. They've been interesting to listen to. I got myself a new chair. It's kind of hard to see back here. Um, so it's a electric chair, so like you can do all kinds of things, bells and whistles. My aunt and her husband were kind enough to give it to me and bring it over to me, and then they were struggling to get it in the house, and a new neighbor just stopped by and was willing to help and get it in for us, which was so nice, so kind. Um, and kindness still exists out there. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see, but there are people out there that want to help, that are kind and just do nice things. And so we plan on getting them a thank you card because they really did help. Let me think. I put in my Walmart order and I got my Walmart order. Came fairly quickly because it said it was supposed to be here at 7 something and they got here at 5:30. I kind of outsmarted Humphreys and I opened the door and turned on all the lights and everything so that he could look out because I knew after a while he kind of calms down. So he didn't even know when they got there. But later on, he knew that there was stuff out there. So, but he didn't do a whole lot of barking and he was a lot more calm. And that's why I tell people don't ring our doorbell because doorbells, even if it's on the TV, the doorbell goes off and sometimes he just goes crazy because it's like the fear of the unknown. What's coming? What's coming? That noise means something's coming, right? And so it's hard on him sometimes when there's people coming in and out, and he's like me, he has a lot of anxiety, and most of that anxiety revolves around leaving the house or having people come into the house. So and I taught him well. He is a very good COVID baby. I got him 2 years before COVID hit. Well, no, a year and a half. And when he was a baby, we'd go in the car all the time, and he really enjoyed going with us, the 3 dogs, Watson, Humphreys, and Bella and I. We'd go traipsing over to Kimball, Nebraska, and doing all kinds of stuff. But then COVID hit, and I didn't go anywhere. I worked from home, and I got to the point where I really liked being at home. In the very beginning, it was kind of hard. I wanted to go places and do things like I had before, but I couldn't. And then later on, I kind of got used to it. And now it's like, with all the medical stuff that's going on with me, it's like I don't want to be out in the public when I don't have to. Not that I would catch COVID or the flu or whatever, but I've gotten to the point that there's only so many humans that I really enjoy spending time with. And I don't have any ill will against anybody else, but I don't really want to spend time around them, especially like at the grocery store or pretty much anywhere else. I just really, really, really would rather stay home. And, I used to eat out a lot, and now I don't. And I know people probably don't believe that, but I don't like eating out. The whole reason my ulcerative colitis actually got found was I was eating out at a lot, and I was on the road a lot, and I was going to like gas stations to eat. And because of my job, I was all over the state all the time. Well, what did I do? I had gotten sick and ended up in the hospital from food poisoning. And so now I don't like to eat out a whole lot. My mom got food poisoning not that long ago, less than a year ago, from some food that she got from eating out. And so it's just one of those things. There's like, I'd rather eat at home where I know I'm not going to get sick. And the other side of the coin is I don't have to get dressed up and go out. I don't have to do my hair. I don't have to put my shoes on. I can just stay home and eat what I want. Remember to stay hydrated. So I'm going to show you these things that I whipped up the other day because I was really cold, and I like to eat frozen strawberries, frozen. And so I get cold when I eat my frozen strawberries. Yeah, I know. I'm not always the brightest person in the world, but it is what it is. So I whipped up these two little, they're kind of like fingerless mitts. I made them out of a Premier cake. I don't even know if they make those cakes anymore. Um, just to give me some extra warmth on my hands. Boy, that's blowing it out really far. That one has blue and gray on it. This one is just gray. I did that because I didn't care if they matched or not. And of course, I haven't sewn in all my little ends yet. So I guess they aren't really finished. Um, but yeah, that was an easy make because it was like I had the yarn, I had the hook, I might as well. Let me see. I am still working on my crochet pants, but I'm putting more energy into Mom's sweater because I really want to get this done before Thanksgiving, and I'm a pretty slow knitter, as you can tell. Um, However, I feel like I'm coming into my own a little bit as a knitter, learning some things, practicing things, because I am starting to take a little bit more initiative to be a little bit more risky. Um, I say that because I this is my first real color work project, and it's a full size sweater for my mom. The only color work is in the yoke, but I'm going to add that color into the hemline and into the cuffs on the sweater. It has a rolled neckline, not hem. Um, However, I'm going to do my finishing differently. I'm going to do an I-cord edge on the hem and on the cuffs, just so that it's a little bit neater, and that it's looks nicer. I've been looking at the sweater that I made for her before, and I can see things that I did that now I wouldn't do and I'd want to change. But she likes wearing the sweater, and so I don't want to. Um, I don't know. I don't want to ruin that for her. Um, and of course, I've made mistakes with this sweater. However, I think I'm doing better with this sweater than I did with the last sweater that I made her. But the last sweater that I made her was completely self-drafted. Um, so this one is not. This one I'm mostly following the pattern. I'm going to do my sleeves a bit different, and I'm of course doing the hem different and the cuffs different. But for the most part, I'm following the pattern of the Night Bloom sweater, and you can get that off of Ravelry. Which I'm going to be honest with you, this is probably one of the toughest projects that I've had. So my Never sweater just took a long time. This one is harder because I'm really trying to follow the pattern, the directions, because I kind of like get going on it and then I run away with it and I forget to look at the instructions. And then I end up making decisions that are different from in the pattern, which aren't necessarily bad, but I'm trying to teach myself to follow the patterns, because you learn different things. I don't really like the yoke increasing on this particular sweater, but I know there's others out there, and it's kind of got me thinking about doing my halibut sweater. However, that's going to have to wait. Like I have a list of things that I would like to work on, things I'd like to do. I have things that I want to make. And I'm just one of those crazy people that really does enjoy crafting, especially in the wintertime. I feel so much more productive and I enjoy the longer nights. I think Humphreys does too. It's quite a I thought it would be a really big, difficult change after Watson was gone, but it really hasn't been. Of course, I had almost a month to mourn him before he actually did pass. And that for me was pretty important. I got to say my goodbyes. And we were, I was able to say my goodbyes without being under pressure. And, honestly, once they gave him the shot to help him relax and take away his pain, he was so comfortable and so happy just to be sitting there with me, even though we were at the vet's office. He was just like, this is perfect. And our vet does offer to do euthanasia at home, but I chose not to do that because wherever he passed, I wouldn't set foot in that room ever again. And, if he passed in my bed, I would not sleep in that bed ever again. And that's just how I am. And, I just don't, I wouldn't want to experience that. Let's put it that way. And so we didn't have to. Um, Bella went with us. And so she kind of understood what was going on. We didn't take Humphreys because Humphreys is not comfortable going in the car right now, and he's not comfortable going to the vet, even though we do have a cruelty and fear-free vet, and she's amazing. If you live in or around Laramie County, hit me up because I will get you in touch with them. Yellowstone Animal Health Hospital, they are amazing. I love Dr. Marcy. They're very responsive. And they just take really good care of your animals, and they get to know your animals almost as well as you do. Um, so yeah, it was a I don't want to say it was a pleasant experience because that's not the right word, but it was not as hard or traumatic and that like I thought it was going to be. Um, and then um, Humphreys, we've started taking him in the car more often. And what I figured out is he really likes to go when I have my Volare pillow with me. I know it's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can change the angle there. So this is my Volare pillow. It is a knit and crochet um, or gaming pillow. It's supposed to kind of help you have better posture and reduce any type of pain from, knitting or crocheting or whatever you're doing. Humph really likes being up here on the pillow. And so he likes when I take the pillow with us in the car because he gets right up on me on the pillow because, he knows what it's for. Couldn't be for my crafting or anything like that. No, 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 no. It's for holding my 20-pound dog. Um, who is his anxiety makes him a little mental. So last week we were leaving. Well, we'd already left work, but we were leaving my therapist's office, which is just downstairs from where I work. And mental health is very important. So Humphrey goes with me. And we got out of the office and we were waiting to be picked up. And there was a gentleman, a disabled vet, with his service dog. And then, although Humphreys growled at the dog and was very unsure, he didn't bark. He didn't put his hair up. He just was letting me know that he was unsure and didn't like this big dog being that close. And the gentleman went and put his dog in the car and then came back and told me that Humphreys was a good-looking dog. And he is. He's a beautiful black and tan. And he's getting better about letting strangers pet him. But I always I try to always hold him when that happens. because I don't want him to nip anybody or bite anybody because he got scared of their hand. Um, because I feel like as his owner, it's my responsibility to keep him and whoever else is around us safe from his anxiety and his responses. We are, I am working on kind of coming out of my shell and help him kind of pull out of his shell. But I also know that he's never going to be one of those bright and shiny dogs that just walks up to people and wants petted and wants picked up. That's Bella to a T. I mean, she just loves people. Humphreys, on the other hand, does not. Bella loves to go in the car. Humphreys wants to go, but he doesn't like being in the car. Um, so they have their own personalities, and they're so funny, the two of them. But they definitely like doing things together, um, which I'm very happy that the two of them kind of pal around. Because I was worried how Bella would react after Watson passed, and with Humphreys. But realistically, she's doing pretty darn well, and she still puts Humphreys in his place if he gets a little pushy, and he listens to her because she's the top dog. And then it's mom. Well, mom's the big top dog. And I'm the scary sister that when Bella's not doing what I need her to do, I holler at her. And then she does what I need her to do. But she's very focused on mom because she's definitely mom's dog. And Humphreys goes back and forth between the two of us, but he sleeps with me at night. And like when I go to places where he can go or I go to work, he comes with me. And he's very, very routine oriented. And so so we went to work Wednesday and Thursday instead of Tuesday and Thursday. So Friday, I woke up and started getting dressed, and he thought we were going again because he gets into a routine really, really fast. And then he wants to just take off and do that routine. Um, and he does not like that we moved his bed yet again. I got a new chair, like I said earlier. So we moved his bed, and he's not real thrilled about it. But I think he'll get used to it. It's just one of those things that it's pretty obvious that he's not real happy that we moved it. He's not happy that we moved my old chair or that we put in the new chair. Although he likes the new chair because I can put my legs up with it, and he can get up um, into my lap easier that way. Bella liked that as well. They both had to check out the chair. Um, so it's been kind of an eventful day today. Um, this over here, this mess is my everyday mess of what I use and what I get into and what I need. So I have it's actually 3-tiered, and I have a bunch of stuff on it that I use, sometimes daily, sometimes weekly, but it's stuff that I'm in fairly frequently. And I store yarn up there and, whatever I'm working with. My backpack that I take stuff around in, my friend got it off of Amazon for me for my birthday last year. And I didn't use it a whole lot until this year. This year, I've really gotten into it. I really like it. I wish I had one that was a little bit bigger with longer straps, but it is a nice bag to use. So I use it when we go pretty much anywhere because I can put my water in there. I can put my extra water in there. I can throw crochet and knitting in there. I can throw a pillow in there. There's a lot of stuff I can put in there to take with me that I might need. I kind of change it out based on where I'm going and what we're doing. Um, Luckily, our weekly visits to Fort Collins are over for another year. I really, really like my doctor down there. His name is Dr. Anderson, sports medicine in Fort Collins at OCR Orthopedics of the Rockies. Like, he is awesome. Um, but you just know that sometimes you're going to have to wait to see him. He's one of those doctors that spend, like, if you need extra time, he's going to spend it with you, and he's going to help you get to the bottom of whatever is wrong. Um, and so I just know when I go to see him that I don't plan anything right behind it, because he's often, unfortunately, running late. But sometimes I'm that patient that makes him late. So I don't get upset with him or his team or other people. I mean, I understand why he's running late. I mean, it's not an intentional thing like, oh, I'm going to make all my patients wait. No, it's really someone needed extra time from him or something else. And he's doing his best, his level best to help them. Like this last visit, he ended up doing 3 injections for me instead of just 2. Um, and I was very surprised because usually he doesn't do that. You have to come back down. But with the weather and stuff coming through and it being close to the holidays, he didn't want to have me and mom on the road coming down because he knows mom drives me down. And yeah, so I got my knees injected and my shoulder injected, which was just flibberty gibbets awesome. It was just so awesome that he could do that for me. Um, so now I don't have to see him for quite a while until I start to hurt again, which is really nice because the stuff that he does usually lasts it. Like my knees, I usually only get them injected once a year. My shoulder, I usually get it injected. Well, I was at once a year, but now I'm at like once every 7 to 8 months. I'm trying to keep it as far out as possible because that can cause damage to my shoulder that already has damage. And I know that seems weird because it makes it feel better, but it can also make it worse at the same time. But that's just how my body works. So come on in, hit that like and subscribe. This will be on the replay if you want to watch it later. My name is Jamie, and this is Knit Till I Die. I am a knitter and a crocheter. I am also someone that talks a lot about chronic illness and doctor's appointments and whatnot. I'm from Wyoming. I'm from the southeast corner of Wyoming, which is why I talk about Nebraska and Colorado a lot, because we're really not far from either one of those. So yeah, welcome. Come on in. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. And if you don't mind, help me get into the right number of subscribers so that I can use my phone to go live. I think that would be easier and quicker for me. I am working on a video right now, and I'm going to try and get it put out this weekend. Notice I said try. Mainly because it takes me a while. I'm not very good at editing, and it takes me quite a while to do editing. And it's one of those things that I'm probably going to be slow at for a while. I do have an editing software thing on my phone, which makes it way more easy. So It still is kind of difficult for me though, because I'm not the best at this. Um, so I am just hanging out this Friday night, working on the night bloom sweater. What are you working on? Do you have any special things you want to make for Christmas or for, I don't know, any other type of holiday that you might celebrate? Let's see. Our dogs have these cave beds, and Humphreys really likes to get in one of them, and Belly likes to get on top of it and smush it down. And when it's smushed, he can't get in it. But sometimes she smushes it when he's already in it, and then he acts like he can't get out, which if he really wanted to get out, he could. He just is being a little dramatic. But I cannot figure out why she wants to sit on top of the beds instead of getting in them. And she does get in them sometimes, but she also likes sitting on top of them, which smushes the top down. And I just have not figured out why she does that so often. Especially if I take Humphreys to work with me. She is all about fudge. She's all about that. Getting on top of that crazy thing. Oh, drop some stitches. Okay. Okay, let's try this again. But anyways, it just seems so weird that she wants to get on top of them. But maybe she's showing her dominance or something. I don't know. I can't read their minds. Sometimes I really wish I could read the dogs' minds and know what they're into and what they're thinking about. But they can't talk to us. Man, I wish that we all could be like Dr. Doolittle and, talk to the animals. I don't know about you guys, but man, the box elders have been bad again this year. That's the one bug that I really, really, really don't like. I don't know about y'all, but those dang box elders, they get into everything. And it just kind of drives me nuts. But hopefully we'll get a really hard frost for a couple of days. And then that should kind of help knock that number back. Because I still keep finding them in the house. And it's like, good Lord. I do not like. And I know that they were put here for a purpose. And I don't know what that purpose was or is. However, what I am going to say is I really don't like them. Like, I can deal with spiders. I don't mind other creepy well, I don't like snakes either, I guess. But that's because Grandma taught me very well that snakes are bad. But those dang box elders, goodness. Do you guys have bugs or something in your area that seems to be kind of overdoing it right now? Mom has a bunch of violets that are actually, how do I say this? They're blooming, and one of them and it's a tiny plant, has 2-inch blooms on it. And it's like a mini African violet. So plants really are not my thing. However, they are moms. And I really like how they make mom happy. So, if you'd like to know when the next video hits or the next live hits, click that notification bell, hit the subscribe and the notification bell, and hit that like if you could. My goal is to get up to 50 subscribers so that I can go live on my phone. I am going to try and do more videos and more lives over the coming weeks because I'd like to start going live on my phone in January. However, I may not be able to. I have to build up that subscriber base. And so I am working on being more consistent and putting out more content. I asked Mom the other day if the Price Sock Hotel was going to be closed for the holidays, mainly because she and I have had very stressful years for several years now. And, last Christmas wasn't bad, but we kind of just want to spend time at home quietly. Because with Grandma, everything was always a big production. And everybody had to have 100 presents. And, we always had to have the great-grands over. And there's nothing wrong with having the great-grands over. But, they had other family that they had to go see, their mom's family, and we're on the dad's side. And Grandma was always making plans without really talking to their mom. Because Grandma just liked to be in control, and she wanted to be the one that decided what was going to happen and when it was going to happen and how it was going to happen and what you're going to eat. And it could be Grandma was really high strung. And the truth is, so am I. But I'm high strung in a different way. Grandma wanted just loads and loads of people at the house all the time. And I'm the opposite. I would rather, go visit them, go have lunch with them or something and visit and then come home and, not have to deal with Humphrey's anxiety and my anxiety. Which is really weird or not weird, but it's, I think it's hard on Mom because we have the house here is just too big for 2 people. And a lot of times we have family members that would like to come and stay. And we want them to be able to come and stay. Even I want them to be able to come and stay. Even with my anxiety and Humphrey's anxiety, I want people to come and stay. But then the reality is once they're here, I get really upset. And that's not fair for anybody else. No one else should have to deal with that. Mom shouldn't have to deal with that. The dog shouldn't have to deal with that. Other people shouldn't have to deal with that. So, yeah, we're going to have a nice, quiet Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I'm hoping that we can celebrate Christmas a smidge early with my aunt and her husband. Because then, it's just Mom and I and the dogs. And we can have a nice, calm week because I won't be working that week because we have what's called the Family Preservation Holiday, which is one of the cool things about working for a nonprofit is they get to make up their own holidays. So this holiday is the time between, around Christmas and New Year's so that you can spend time with your families. And, if you have kids, you'll be off the same days that they are from, out of school because we work on the school district calendar. So it's pretty nice for me. I don't have any children. I just have my 4-legged dog. um, that I love dearly, but I recognize he's not a child. Um, Although I still think he's my baby. Um, and then maybe next year we can get back into the hosting and, having people come to the house. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to move you for a minute. There it is. I dropped my ball. Isn't that how it always happens? Okay. Um, I don't know if you guys have seen Mandy Von Knits, but um, man, her podcasts are so slick. She has really um, grown a lot as a podcaster. And man, she has a lot of technical skills that she puts to use um, in her videos. So I'm trying to do better about my videos, editing them and whatnot. But I do find the editing the difficult part because after I say something and then I go back and I look at it, I'm not sure that I really want to say it again or have other people hear it. Which is the problem with the video that I'm working on right now is I have an entire rant that I should probably just cut out. But like basically the whole video is the dang rant. And there's good people out there and there's bad people out there. There's people that make good choices and people that make bad choices. And we can't control what other people do or how they do it. All we can control is what we do. And so that particular rant that I went on, I don't know the person that I was talking about. And I think I made that clear in the rant, but I was also kind of making a judgment. And after thinking about it, I don't think that I was right in what I was saying because I don't know the whole story of what was going on in this person's life to make them do what they did. And I honestly, I was judging this person for something that they did that I still don't think is right. But the other side of the coin is I don't know the whole story. I don't know why I don't know why that person was doing what they were doing. So it's probably not something that I should put out because I don't know the whole situation. I only know what I've read and what I've seen online. So I think I'm just going to cut that whole rant out because it wasn't very I wasn't trying to be mean or judgmental, but I really wasn't nice. The person made a decision that affected a lot of people and could have caused the death of of several people, including the person. So I think I kind of fell back into an old pathway when I used to be part of a group that was like DARE. And like I said, I don't know the whole situation. And I wished that our country was putting more emphasis on getting us more doctors, more specialists, more mental health specialists, places where people that have needs can go, whether it's a social need or a psychological need, neurocognitive need, whatever it is. We should have places for people to be, to get whatever help they need and help them get back on their feet, and not be making choices that could be very detrimental to themselves or to the entire society. But I also recognize that the country I live in does not value that right now. um, we seem to not value taking care of one another. We're kind of the pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And sometimes the harder you work at that, the lower you sink. Um, but like I said, I don't know everything about that situation. And I would really, I'd hate it if someone made a judgment like that about me. Um, but that's why there's things that I just don't do anymore. Um, Things that I have mom help me with, like driving, because I really don't want to hurt anybody. There's a lot of stuff that I just have, in my own way, given up. And it is a loss, like um, a bit of a loss of independence. But the other side of the coin is my independence more important than somebody else's life? Is my independence more important than a kid on a bike or a dog in the street? I don't think so. Like, I don't want to hurt anyone or anything. And I don't want to make a decision where I might do that. Because I think it's my responsibility to recognize some of the problems that I have, like hepatic encephalopathy. When that flares, it's bad. And I don't, how do I say this? I don't mind having mom drive me, because I'd already dealt with that typical loss of freedom, I think, through COVID and stuff. Um, so it doesn't bother me as much as it might bother other people. Um, and yes, it makes me not as independent in my life, in my society. However, I just don't think that me wanting to run to the store for strawberries should put somebody else's life in danger. Just recently, we had a child that was hit by a car. And I don't know the whole situation. I don't know the families of the people that were involved. But for whatever reason, the person was not ticketed. And my deepest suspicion is, and this is going to sound awful, but I think that the person was probably not cited because the child was going the wrong way on the road riding a bike. And in where I live, the bikes have to follow the rule of the road, just like the cars, just like the trucks, the semi trucks. If you're on a bike, an actual pedal bike or a motorbike or a scooter, you have to follow the rules of the road. And my best guess is this child didn't, and the accident happened, and that's why the person most likely was not ticketed, is because it was decided that they were not in the wrong because of what was going on. And unfortunately, in our small community, we've had several children hit by cars, and some of them have died. And I know that has to be absolutely rough for the families, and for other families in our community, worrying about their children getting home safely. But like I went to school with someone long time ago who had accidentally hit a child on the bike. He did not get ticketed and he didn't go to jail. The child had a lot of medical problems, and I know the child's family tried to sue. I don't know like the whole outcome of that, but the reason that the high schooler was not ticketed is because the younger child was riding the wrong way in the road and was not following the rules of the road. So that happens in my community. I don't know if it happens other places. I'm thinking that it probably does. But watching the stuff online, there's so many people that are so upset at the family, thinking that the family's asking for money and they're scamming people. But then there's a lot of people out there that are throwing hate and vitriol at whomever was the driver. And our police department has not issued any statement about it. The school district hasn't issued any statement about it. And I think it's because it's still probably under investigation. Because I think it's like everywhere. I think, like you go to a fast food restaurant or you go to Walmart and they're always hiring. I think a lot of places in my community are short-staffed. The problem is they don't offer positions, or they can't offer positions that would allow someone like me to be able to work there, because I would have to sit down. I truly, with all the stuff that's going on, would not be able to stand up maximum maybe 7 minutes right now. I cannot walk very far because of the nerve damage that's going on. So I couldn't go work at Walmart. I couldn't go work at a fast food place. So I understand the need that we have a lot of staffing issues where I live. But the other side of the coin is that jobs are not friendly to folks like me that couldn't work an 8-hour day. They would have to work like a 2 or a 4-hour day. And I don't know how our society is going to change as we kind of move forward. Because if we could be more accepting of folks that have different abilities, I think that we could fill positions. You may have to hire several, part-time people, but then you wouldn't have to, you wouldn't be as short-staffed. But the other side of the coin is that people that are differently abled sometimes get really sick, and they can be sick for weeks on end. And I know employers don't usually deal with that very well because they hire you because they need you. I'm very, very lucky. The nonprofit that I work for is called Uplift, and it is a wonderful nonprofit in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and we serve families and children that have pretty much any diagnosis right now that needs different accommodations. And we work across the entire state, but we also work with partners in other states. We advocate for those children in the school district. We advocate for those families as well. We advocate for special education needs in Washington. My boss recently just got back from Washington. I just really wish that we could, as a society, focus on what people can do versus what they can't do. But I recognize that that's not always helpful. That doesn't always work. Um, I'm just grateful to uplift. Um, that if I need to use my walker, I can bring my walker. If I need to use my wheelchair, I can bring my wheelchair. If I need the day off because I just can't get out of bed, I get the day off. I do my best to make it up relatively quickly because I hate missing and I like being at work. But I know eventually that's going to come to an end, um, which is kind of sad because this is the longest that I've ever worked anywhere. And I really enjoy um, my boss, and I enjoy the snippets of the world that I get to see. Um, I was a neurotypical child and didn't have issues so much with school. It was more social stuff than actually school. I just really struggled socially. And I liked learning. I just didn't like being around my peers. I wanted to be around people that were older than me or people that were younger than me, but not really my peer group. And I think that's because I grew up with my grandma and my papa and mom. But Papa was my main daytime care person when I was in school. And, he'd take me to Hardee's or he'd take me to great grandma's house, for breakfast or whatever. And I was always with him. If I wasn't in school, I was with him. And he'd hang out with some of the older bus drivers, or there was a guy that was a postman for a long time that used to sit with that group at Hardee's. And so I had a lot of um, time around older adults and less time um, with people my own age. And then my neighborhood, the kids were either a couple years older than me or a couple years younger than me. I really didn't have anybody my age. So yeah, I grew up kind of in between everybody. Um, so it was, I don't know, I wouldn't trade my time with Papa for anybody. I really loved my Papa. And, we got to do things that he didn't get to do with my mom and my aunt because, Brian was sick and he had to work. And, um, there's all kinds of other stuff um, going on. He and I would just pal around together and do things together. And he was my person. And if he was late picking me up, I would freak and try to walk home. And one time I got really close to getting home, but I didn't know how to finish getting home. I was one street over from where I needed to be. And then he finally found me, um, which I know his heart was probably just pounding out of his chest because he was supposed to be there. And then he was a little bit late, and I had already started walking home, and no one knew where I was. I'm kind of like Humphreys, like people need to be on time or I start to worry. Um, or I need to kind of know what's going on. I try not to be as nosy as grandma because grandma wanted the 411 on everything. And I just, I don't know, I didn't want, um, I don't know, I don't want mom or anyone else to feel like I'm trying to control their lives. I just do better if I know the timeline and we kind of stick to the timeline. Because, like Humphreys, I have a lot of anxiety. And man, if mom is late, I try really hard not to panic. Um, but there was one day she was very late and I couldn't get a hold of her and I couldn't get a hold of the person she was with. And I had expected them home like an hour and a half before that. And, it was starting to kind of get a little dusky outside. And so, of course, my brain jumps to the immediate, oh my goodness, she's been in a car wreck or she's sick or something, that, you know, there's been an emergency, and they just went to a different town to have their meal, which is perfectly fine. But that added an extra hour on, actually an extra 2 hours onto um, their time being gone. Plus, they went and did a little bit of shopping, which is perfectly fine. But again, I expected them home at a certain time and they weren't home, and I panicked really bad. I started calling people. I was so panicked. And they told me, it's okay, it's not that late, you know. And I'm, of course, because I watch all those crime shows and stuff, I'm worried that, you know, they're dead on the side of the road, somebody hijacked them, or, you know, the car went off the road, hit a like a patch of ice or something and went off the road, because we live in Wyoming and honey, it snows here all year round. Um, and you never know what you're going to run into between us and Laramie. And like, I just was very, and I didn't know they were on that road. I thought they were in town, and you know, I thought they'd been in a car wreck or hijacked or this or that, or, and it's like, but one of them would have called. Like if something was wrong, I know mom would have found a way to try and get a hold of me. And I just kept panicking, so I called my aunt and I called my friend, and they both told me it was too soon to panic. And about an hour later, mom finally got home. And boy, was I glad to see her. And so we talked about it. And they just went to a different town and added extra time on, which is fine. But I had panicked because I had expected her home around a certain time and she wasn't there. And I tried to get a hold of her and I couldn't. I tried to get a hold of the person she was with and I couldn't. Like I was trying to not power slam their phones because I recognize that they're adults and you know they can go out and do whatever they want. I just was worried that something bad had happened. Luckily, um, nothing bad happened. It was just my anxiety. Um, and mom felt bad for worrying me, but it's not her fault. It's my fault. Like I'm the one that gets anxious, right? And I feel like, how do I say this? I feel like I'm a burden to her because I do have so much anxiety and I do worry so much about her. And so we've started making sure everything's in the Google Calendar, which has really helped because then if it says she's somewhere, I know she's where she's at. Um, and, you know, I know not to worry. So it just helps me to have things in the calendar. We have a Google Calendar that we share. And that's really important to me to have stuff in there um, because if I have to do it, it needs to be in there, number one. And number two, if she's gone, it lets me know where she went and who she's with. That's that, you know, and that's enough. Because it's not like I call her when she's not home on the dot at like 1 o'clock. But you know, if it's like 2:30 and she's still not home, and I was expecting her home, well then I'll call her and text her. And then I stop because I know that when she gets to wherever she's going, she's going to call or text me, which she does, which also helps. Because sometimes things just run long. And my grandmother taught me to panic really well. I learned a lot from my grandma. Not necessarily good coping skills, but I learned a lot. Well, we got almost 2 inches done on my the sleeves here. And I think I've kind of run out of things to say, and my buddy wants up here, so I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to end this like I end most of my stuff. Um, you are wanted, you are needed, you are loved. Be kind to everyone, including yourself, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.